crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Thank you for joining Discover Crypto, everybody. We have major news regarding Solana. What is going on? Solana dropping the ball, but we do have a little bit of a glimmer of hope on the end of the horizon. We got to look at some Bitcoin charts. We got to talk about your favorite alt news, and we're going to do a little Q&A at the end of the stream. And I'm here with Josh, and we're both dressed up.
We have made it back into the studio finally. It's feels good to be in here. It's all
I can reach across
fresh.
to you now.
I know we can almost touch tips.
ET finger. Yeah, we're going to finger each other, everybody. No, we're just talking about fingering.
We're warming up. We're warming up, guys.
Yikes.
But speaking of warming up, DCM Pray, we're going back to 69K. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but look, there's a lot of people out there in this market today. There are some good indicators that flash from an economic standpoint we'll be breaking down today. But of course, we have to break down a lot. Solana dropped kind of a controversial ad. DZ may be a star in the latest film produced by Solana Foundation, but I don't know.
What character am I? Can I just be the couch?
You want the guy to sit on your...
The only one in that video not getting effed.
That's true. That's true. Well, it is hysterical, so we'll be watching, breaking that down here today. But yeah, I mean, how you guys feel about these markets? A little bit of a rough start here today after a little 2-day rally.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people out there shorting the market. We're seeing a little bit of some glimmers of hope. We got to talk about Bitcoin versus gold and how that might be spelling something. But the FOMC, we're going to touch on that a little bit as well. But that Solana ad is totally wild, totally unhinged. We're going to play it in a few minutes, everybody, in case you missed it.
Definitely. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button because tomorrow is going to be a massive stream again. We're going to be rolling out from the morning show all the way into the afternoon, watching the FOMC meeting. And I believe Chainlink is going to be on a panel with Swift shortly thereafter the FOMC meeting. So tomorrow is a jam-packed day of content for you guys. We'll be covering and hosting the entire thing, breaking it down live and piece by piece. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. But easy, let's hit it.
All right, we got Wispy saying it was a good ad. Well, we're going to play it in a little bit. Let's look at a couple of crypto market aspects here on Bitcoin. We're down 1.5. You can see XRP down 3%. Solana's down 3.5%. Oh, that's the ad right there. We're going to play it in a second here, folks.
Yeah.
Just you wait. Just you wait. It's going to be a good one. Here you can see Cardano down 4%. Dogecoin down 3.7%. We keep scrolling. And one of the few coins in the green. When I say one of the few, very few coins in the green, but we did launch an Avalanche video last night. I said there's a lot of bullishness when you were looking at the charts, and we may have reopened along right before the stream. It's a 15-minute candle, so I wish we all could have caught that little bit of a pump action together, but we're in it. We're going to check on it in a little bit, folks.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you guys, how are you feeling about tomorrow? Let me know in the chat too. How are you guys feeling this morning? Obviously, a little bit of a pullback. We just looked at it there. You know, Bitcoin sitting at 81.7. Are you feeling like this is going to continue to break down further? We're midweek right now. Obviously, Wednesday here, Tuesday. Where do you think we're going? Are we going to go back below 80K? Is that the sentiment you're feeling, or do we bounce?
I am not ready for a below 80K. Actually, I have a Bitcoin chart right here. So if we look at where Bitcoin's at, we do got a little bit of support. I think it can hold fairly strong here. The bottom of this support here, this yellow line, right around, oh man, you said 80K, 80K 700, 80K 500. So we do have a little bit of support at 80K, but I didn't realize it was so close to 80K. And you see how we had wicked down below before. That's the 4-hour candle. We go the daily. You can see candle body, firmly above that area. But yeah, we could definitely, I could see some scary action here. And forgive me as I get used to a new mouse. TJ, I might be going back to just a regular one. I cannot stand an Apple mouse. Let me know down below, what is better, PC mouse, Apple mouse? Josh, what's your opinion here?
Well, judging by the fact that most people in crypto are gamers, they're going to say PC mouse here. You know, I like my G series or, something that's not all touchy because it gets weird with the copy paste. But I have to say, if you're a researcher, I do want to switch to Mac eventually because, man, oh man, I am so jealous of the people that can copy and paste from their phone to their PC directly. That is the most OP feature I think I've ever seen on any device. So, yeah, for the MacBooks out there, I understand why people use it. But if you're a gamer, Nobody games on a MacBook.
Well, it seems like the Disco fam, they do like the PC mouse. When you're trying to stretch out a chart on TradingView, you could do it in a millisecond with the PC mouse. Apple, you're like,
I knew TradingView was going to be the issue. I even was thinking about that. Even being a lot of the shortcuts don't work the same way. But now you can get an actual mouse that's not the whatever they call it, the magic.
Folks, let's switch
Maybe
gears.
just needs like the headgear and like just the like.
There
like
you go.
Let's stop talking about crypto. Let's do an Apple versus PC debate here.
Okay.
A lot of people.
We are good with this. Solana versus XRP is what I would equate that to.
All right. Well, which one is Mac in that scenario?
That's for chat to decide, not me.
Such a cop out. Let's talk about Solana, everybody. Solana futures just began first day trading on the CME here. If we're looking at the numbers, how did it fare? Oh, Josh, I think you have this highlight. I'm looking at some of the things here. Looks like they had about $5 million in volume. It was about 40,000 souls, what ended up trading yesterday on the 17th. First day it went live here. And it looks like it was trading around $127 per Solana. $2 less than what the contracts were showing expiring in March. Now, this was a major story when there was only grayscale future Bitcoin contracts in 2021. It gave you a good indication of where the market was going to be 6 months from now. So if grayscale had a huge premium, you were pretty good betting on Bitcoin being higher 6 months from now. And if it was a huge negative to the downside, you could bet on it dumping within the next 6 months. Solana, only $2 lower. So I think the markets are a little uncertain of where Solana is going to be headed.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks here, and I'll pull up the chart as well on TradingView for Bitcoin. Right now, we're just simply following the SPX, and I won't get to the recession indicators here until a little bit later in the episode. But Bitcoin is just following suit with the market open here today.
I don't have that. Whatever window you're looking at, I'm not.
We don't have the presenting.
I have your screen,
of the TradingView slides, PDFs. On, let me hit stop sharing for 2 seconds. We got this.
We're pulling out PDFs. And
we're just
windows
we are in deep here. I'm going to start Alex Jonesing it, bringing out 40 different printed papers with highlights there. I think Easy would kill me if we made you highlight all the sheets there.
Don't even bring up Alex Jones, man. They're going after those journalists.
Dude, I know it's actually sad. Look, I respect all of their journalists out there. I know it's actually. Dude, they're putting literally their lives online. I mean, that's crazy to think about, like that. They're all being swatted. One of them literally lost their lives. It's insane to think about. But the charts I was showing you here, guys, rest in peace in the chat for that journalist. That nobody deserves that. The SPX falling back here after the market opened today. Bitcoin just following suit with it. So we are 24 hours away from the FOMC meeting. We're make or break. If this FOMC meeting does not come out dovish and Jerome Powell does not want to, have any signs of, hey, we're probably going to end QT here in May or June, and it just becomes this very vague approach, we're probably looking at some downside here over the next 2 to 3 weeks. This is the bottom of that market, the bottom of that barrel there. Now, I don't know if that bottom 77K, I don't know if that bottom 72K, but what we know is that the macro data, which we'll get to in just a moment, is starting to actually fold over to the positive side. And back to DZ's point here with Solana with the CME futures, we are in this case, if you're looking at that Max Payne, right? The futures, I think what you said was $2 underneath.
Yeah, it's trading like 127 versus the 129 or wherever it is right now.
And based off historical data, like you're saying, this would be a good point to kind of see where the direction of markets is going is, we're right around that key level. And so whether we're going to drop a little bit further by another 10%, it's possible. But we also have a very bullish announcement for Solana potentially coming out as soon as May, which is the Solana Spot ETF. So the ETF approval odds here on March 13th.
What'd you do to your screen?
You just keep losing my screens?
Well, yeah, you shared a window.
I guess you can only share one at a time unless I'm sharing the entire screen. There you go.
Yeah.
So on March 13th here, he expects the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to approve. So there is people banking on this, I guess, or betting on the approval of Solana spot ETFs as soon as May. Making it the third, by the way, to get their ETF. But at least 5 ETF issuers have filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to list spot Solana ETFs. The regulator has until October 2025 to make a final decision on the filings. Now, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because historically, the government is good at one thing and one thing only, and that is procrastinating. So I don't expect necessarily any of these approvals to go through until their final date decision, like we saw with the Bitcoin ETF, like we saw with the Ethereum ETF. Do you guys think Solana is going to be different with the 70%?
Well, show your
chance?
screen one more time. I'm going with the Bloomberg Bros. Kind of what you're saying here. That is going to be ultimately approved around 70%, but I think they'll drag their heels until that October 2025 deadline, which is real close to where DZ's predicting the top of the 4-year cycle, which would be a perfect opportunity for Wall Street to use retail, aka you. They want to use you, the viewers, as exit liquidity. We're going to try to make sure you end up making the best moves for your financial freedom.
Yes, and for the chat asking FOMC, is it today? It is tomorrow. So make sure you guys are here tomorrow, subscribed. It is going on today. It's always a 2-day event, but the press conference is always the second day at 2:30 p.m. So make sure you guys come join us in that live stream. But yeah, I would have to, look, they haven't been wrong yet. So definitely watch Eric Balchunas and Safeheart out there, as they are very, very predictable here. But we do have a huge hint. I believe that you have lined up here coming out of Justin Sun.
Yeah, and then after this, we're going to play the Solana ad. This Solana ad is controversial. That's all we're going to say.
Say the least.
To say the least, everybody. So one more article, we're going to get right into it. So Justin Sun, just seeing a lot of bullishness around Solana. So, want to cover some of the news here. Justin Sun, let's just say, dubious proclamations have came out of this man's mouth before. So he's hinting at a Tron Solana integration. I would just kind of focus on this. Specific details of the collaboration remain unclear. So if nothing happens over the next 12, 24 months, I wouldn't be surprised. Don't say DZ didn't tell you here. But are we ready to talk about the ad here, man? The cringe ad that was tone deaf on gender issues?
Yes, let's play it first. We'll get the chat's response.
Hit the like button,
and then
please.
we'll open up for debate and discussions.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. Let me see if we can actually all hear this together.
You should be able to hear it.
So, America, what's going on?
Well, lately, I've been having thoughts again.
What thoughts?
About innovation. Multiplanetary travel, nuclear energy, crypto, AI, things that push the limits of human potential.
What you're experiencing is called rational thinking syndrome. Why don't we take this energy and channel it into something more productive, like coming up with a new gender?
But that's not going to stop me thinking about innovating and doing something.
Innovating, doing, these are action words, verbs. Why don't we focus on pronouns?
That's not going to help.
I sense some cynicism. Have you been betrayed in the past?
I used to think the media was my friend. Can I even trust them anymore?
Of course.
Of course they'd say that. That's a biased take. I got canceled for saying 2 + 2 is 4.
Have you ever considered that math is a spectrum?
What?
America, numbers are non-binary. We've been conditioned to believe that 2 + 2 is 4. It's a societal construct.
It's literally math.
Or is it a dominant narrative? Have you been practicing state-prescribed regulations we talked about?
Yeah. I've debanked some crypto founders, and I've slowed down nuclear reactor approvals. And depending on my state of mind, I change the SEC guidelines, but I don't like it.
If we don't regulate, how will we create jobs for people who work hard to make businesses slow?
You know what? Hard work, innovation, rational thinking, it's in my blood. It's who I am. Railroads, factories, automobiles. I built the future once, and I won't be left behind now. I will lead the world in permissionless tech, build on chain, and reclaim my place as the beacon of innovation. I want to invent technologies, not genders.
Lovely. So glad you were able to get some of that negative emotion out. Sounds like we'll need a few more sessions. When can I see you next?
You're fired.
It's a lot. Now, the phenotype, that is not a MAGA guy. That is definitely not a MAGA guy. That is the phenotype was pretty clear. It's a San Francisco-based company. And so, I think you get a little, you get whispers of that. You get whispers of where Solana is located. I would say, I think that's a fair statement. Josh, what are your thoughts on this ad? TJ, what do you think here?
Let's start with TJ.
Sure, I'll go first. I would chat. It was interesting to look in the comments in the chat. Chat seemed to pretty much like it. So there's a lot to unpack here with this. Obviously, just so you guys know, X hated it. Everybody on X was, raging about it. I there's kind of two different viewpoints on this, from my opinion. You know, there's like a traditional, if you're looking at this as a company, as a brand, is this a good quote unquote ad, like an ad that you know that they had a production budget, you know, they put a decent amount of money into this. Is this something you could do? And you would actually, I would be comparing it to like the Coinbase ads, you know, that they've been running, you know, update the system, which I think is a real, you know, I think they're doing a really good campaign with some of those ads. I want to say Gemini maybe even had a decent one. You know, this would be something you would run on traditional media for the most part. And for in that context, I would say it misses the mark in it kind of drags on. It's a little bit slow. It doesn't really leave the watcher with any you know, they're trying to promote, I guess, their conference coming up. But it doesn't really leave the viewer saying like, yeah, I want to go to that conference. It just kind of leaves you with it's designed to create tension, you know, anger maybe on one side or the other, frustration. And it does create that, but I don't think it really gets the result that you would want out of traditional creative, 30-second creative like this, in my opinion. I'm not saying it, I agree with what DZ said. It feels like a group of left-leaning people got together and said, what kind of ad would the new right want? And then they tried to make it. And like I said, the tone, I think, misses a little bit. The acting's not the greatest, is in the sense of like that what they really keyed in on is like sneering face. That's the image that they've used a lot. So and it's very flip-flop divergence from where they were not very long ago. I mean, we know their kind of views on a lot of things. So for that, I think what they really were trying to do, to be honest, I think the ad team got down together and said, how could we make an ad that we think Trump or Elon would share or retweet? I think that was literally all they were trying to accomplish. How could we get support from Trump or Elon behind this ad? And that's what they came up with.
I can see that. Yeah. MAGA boomers, let's create something that they would love. They could have just got Shane Gillis or something, but you know, this is the route that they end up going.
So that, you know, I think it was just poor execution. I don't know if the whole concept should have been thrown out, but there was definitely a lot of opportunities to make some other decisions along the way that I think this concept could have landed if executed correctly. And I think they just missed the mark on some of those.
They needed to use like a Shane Gillis or something.
Yes.
Because like the 2 + 2 = 4 was a very cringy statement. That was like a ChatGPT, comedic joke that was created. We've heard that a million times, so
math is racist, but didn't have the cojones to maybe say that charged line, so they skirt around that.
Yeah, I think that their point was, I mean, I agree with almost all the points they made. It was like, we see exactly what they're trying to do, but it was a cringy rage bait ad. That is what it was. And anybody that is raging against it, which is what X was doing, I mean, there was no good response effort. Like X was just going, trash ad. We're supposed to be a decentralized network. And that's where I drew the line. I was like, look, it was a cringy ad. Let's get that off the table here. But to act like Solana is some decentralized goody two-shoe ecosystem, I think is like a falsehood. These people are like, these are all value extraction meme coiners that are inside trading and taking advantage of the communities. All like, Solana is supposed to be decentralizing for everybody. I'm glad they're defending their right to extract liquidity from everybody. But Solana is also the foundation that was a part of the whole SBF issue and crisis with the Democratic dark money and money that was being sent to politicians like Maxine Waters. So to come out and be like, oh, they're supposed to be apolitical when they've been probably the most politically polarized community out of almost any single cryptocurrency, I was like, it's just all theatrics. And then they came out and deleted the video to only make it more controversial. And so the ad, I think, is genius in marketing in that sense. Is like, it's viral at this point. It is going viral. It is memeified. There's memes going. I pulled up their Twitter thread here. Like, you can just go through all their tweets now and you can see, like, they're just turning it all into memes, like do something, smile. Like there was a couple memes in it too. You could just do things like Solana. Where's the other picture? Yeah, I want to invent technologies, not genders. That one's pretty.
Yeah, this one sneer. That's a sneer.
Yeah, this is this reminds me. We were talking about before the show. Is like the liberal meme of the chip going no. Like it's kind of very similar in that.
That guy's giving me Slytherin vibes, and he's talking about a mudblood.
And so,
So
yeah,
true.
I think the
Right?
ad,
That's Malfoy's like other friends,
yeah,
not Crab or Goyle.
and so
Yeah.
I think the
Just
ad
inbred.
did exactly what it was supposed to be do. It was supposed to be a cringy rage bait, and maybe they were sitting down trying to say like this boomer remark, right? They're like, what would Elon share? I think this was more of like them trying to save themselves, like Bud Light did with Shane Gillis, except they did not execute it as professionally there. But either way, Base coming out, I think it's funny. Base is coming out and attacking Solana. Like, we would never do that. We are for both sides. And then I'm over here in like Washington, D.C., hearing like what they're lobbying for, which is against self-custody, because they're an exchange and they want to go against the underlying ethos of crypto and get users to store their crypto on an exchange because they want to farm your transaction fee. So I'm like, what are we? This is all
Top comment
theatrics, in
right
my
there.
opinion.
Top comment.
And I honestly, I like the ad. I don't think it was a bad ad.
You don't think it was a Jeffrey Dahmer commercial, but some say that ad ate.
That's a good one. That guy looks like Jeff.
Yeah.
That's a
He
good
does.
one.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that, hey, we're talking about it right now. So they've obviously accomplished some level of virality from it. But a lot of people pointing out this was another thing they were getting dragged for. They were huge BLM supporters. So it's very flip-floppy.
Exactly.
And it does, to me, read like another commenter said it. It reads like, Trump, please like us. And like it's like a desperate, like, hey, we want to be part of this American digital asset stockpile. So we're going to just jump on board with the politics. I do feel like if your project is done right, it should transcend politics. Bitcoin far and away Bitcoin does not care who's president of the United States. It's great that the United States is buying a bunch of Bitcoin, but it really doesn't change anything that Bitcoin is doing. I would say similar for Ethereum. You want, in my opinion, that's the kind of project you want, something that all people want to use. You want it to be a true utility service that every government wants, and it's apolitical, and you really don't want something that's very politicized. That's kind of what we're trying to get away from with the fiat system. So we got a super chat here. My broker says interest rates will probably drop a few times this year. Trump's plan is to drop the market, drop rates, refi debt at lower rates, cause Janet refinanced at high and printed more money. Yeah, we kind of talked, didn't this?
Yeah, we've covered that. That's basically kind of same page that we're on. And yeah, we might refinance America's debt at a lower rate, which Donald Trump tried to do, I think 2019, and they shut him down for it. I remember it was the 100-year note, which at the time, oh, wow, what an idiot. Now, a lot of economists, even Nobel Prize winning economists, are like, well, maybe that actually wouldn't have been a terrible idea to refinance our debt to a 100-year note. So the 5 and the 20s and the 10s that we see a lot of. You ready? All right, so Solana, just give us a yay or a nay if you think it was a good ad below. I'd be interested to see kind of where we're landing. It seems like people are kind of falling on both sides here.
Well, this was an interesting thing that Josh mentioned. I just wanted to point it out. He was talking about Solana being a value extraction thing. This was a lady, Anatoly trying to, roast. This was somebody talking about Ethereum, and she basically was replying to him. They were going back and forth in this thread that I won't get into. But she said, isn't the most popular application on Solana literally a factory for creating valueless tokens? He didn't really deny it. He just said, just like an Ethereum, but faster and cheaper. Users can skip creating a valueless L2 and just launch a token. And it's just like, dang, he's basically saying it's valueless. He's trying to say Ethereum's valueless too. And all the maxis out there would say, yeah, the only thing with real value is Bitcoin. And
joke's on you, Anatoly. ETH gas fees are so cheap, it's basically like an L2. So, but that's because no one's using it. But still, ETH's good.
I mean, people are starting to realize too, it's like I'm not a Bitcoin maxi at all, but a lot of these L1s, L2s, they don't need their own token. They're doing it because, again, they just see that value and they want to extract it. They're VC tokens. So it's like, you want to say your L1 VC token that's centralized and 90% of that value is controlled by centralized node entities is better than a meme coin that is, launched by phase banks. Look, whatever moral hill you want to battle on and die on, go for it. But the utility is not worth the value of the proposition or that you've popped up.
Speaking of phase banks, did you see the LA Vape Cabal update?
I did.
No,
Red Guy.
They're gone, right?
Red Guy has reappeared.
You see that? I wasn't
People
even
are
going to
gonna
bring it
fall
up.
for it again, dude.
You brought up phase banks.
Their fan bases will never leave. They're the definition of their audiences are the one that you see in Vegas that want to get drunk with the Nelk boys and part like that. Just I don't think you can get rid of it. But I did not see the update. If you want to show us,
no, he's just back.
It's right here. Fit update, and it's probably going to be the top comment here. So he's like, hey, I'm back. Basically, top comment below here. Hold on. Below the vibe update. Bro is on the run. I know a non-extradition nation's hotel room when I see one. prayers up. And a lot of people are pointing at the fact that there is a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
And if you think about American hotels, they typically have a floor AC unit.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not in America.
Inverse Bra.
I'm not saying he's on the run.
No, Inverse Bra shared it. And let's say this. I don't really have any problems with Reg. I actually think he does pretty good content overall. I do think this is a tough system to
He's
stay
like
in
king
for
of
long
his
time.
niche.
Yeah, I think he does a good job. I don't have, and I think
Twitch plans Zoomer, who trades
They're-
meme coins.
Yeah, it's they are a sub niche that's never gonna leave. They are the ones that all your Fortnite community fanboys are gonna follow into. It's just they are.
Well, I'm not going to lump him together. That's kind of what I'm saying. I wouldn't put him together with Frank and Rasmus and Banks and all those other guys. Like I would say,
Because they dev.
well,
I'm just joking.
I would
Not really.
I would put them directly with Bank.
well, I mean, they're friends, and I don't think he's as predatory with some of these insider dumps as he gets attributed for. I'm not saying that about any of the rest of those guys. I think having experienced going through meteoric rise and trying to figure this space out, and a lot of people in your ear telling you different directions and all that sort of stuff, I would say he's probably doing the best that he can. I'm not saying
Yeah,
So
imagine
you think he's being taken advantage of by people
I
around?
wouldn't say taking advantage. It's just what a lot of people do. You walk into an LA mansion and you got this guy, FaZe Banks, who's like super rich, and he's like, pull your phone out and buy this now. What's most people going to do? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hour later, sell. I don't want to be dumb, So I think a lot of people do the exact same thing in his situation.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I think he may have made some mistakes, but he's doing the best he can. I don't think it's as much predatory. That's all I was gonna say on that one. But
we do gotta
say,
okay.
Upon further research, it looks like when I looked at the comments, I'm pretty sure he's in Hawaii. So I don't think he's in
Hawaii. Okay, I could see less AC out there. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. All right, we got Balls with the $2 super chat here. Also, the JFK files are being released. Apparently, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Maybe it was only on the member stream. We are being given digitized copies of documents that the CIA was in charge of digitizing. They may have dropped a box down to the on the way to the scanning machine. You know what I mean? So we're not going to get all the documents clearly. You ready to talk about gold?
Honestly, type 1 in chat if you want to see me live stream the release. I definitely want to open them up with chat, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think that would
people
still
love
be
it.
Because I've read so many JFK books.
To the left.
Yeah, if you haven't read JFK the Unspeakable, fantastic. I think that's why I have faith in the JFK files. I don't have faith in the Epstein files. Because JFK has been so heavily researched and debated at this point that there's so many books off this. And when you have RFK Jr. backing James Douglas with his issuances, his documents, it's for the CIA to come in and change that up. I think they're gonna catch things. They're gonna be like, well, that definitely is altered because it's been so researched at this point. Epstein, though, I have no idea.
I could go off on Alan Dulles and the Warren Commission, and that's
the thing. With Richard Nixon, and everything. It's people think Richard Nixon, obviously knew, and that's part of it. And then, of course, who took over was a part of the Warren Commission.
Let's not say what Nixon's quote was because that'll get us demonetized. Let's talk about gold, everybody. Speaking of demonetization, we got gold leading the way in Bitcoin following. But what are we talking about here? We're talking about how they kind of move in tandem, not so much together. But gold, a lot of the time, will lead the way, lead the pump. You can see gold on a nice little ascension. Bitcoin followed 1, 2, about 3 months later. Now gold also on another run to the upside. Is Bitcoin going to follow? Now, a lot of people are saying this gold rally will lead to a proper gold rush. Gold right now is actually outperforming Bitcoin, everybody. Gold is up 15% since the turn of the year. A lot of it is gold ETFs. A lot of it is China's buying. But gold year over year, now since January 1st, gold is up 40%, far outpacing Bitcoin's 16% gain. Historically, when gold enters a bull market, Bitcoin stagnates or declines. They rarely move in tandem, but there are occasional periods they both rally and fall simultaneously. But when gold and Bitcoin from 2019 to 2020, gold would lead the charge initially, and then Bitcoin would follow suit, surging into its old bull run while gold took a back seat. But a lot of people are saying we're getting a proper gold rush, something the market hasn't seen since 2011. Talks about gold at 3K, silver above 24, and gold stocks are gaining momentum. The crypto crowd has never witnessed a true gold rush. Last time it happened, Bitcoin was just emerging at $20 a coin. So a lot of people may not be ready for the potential rally. I think this kind of fits my own just thought analysis, if you just think about, all right, China buying a lot of gold, where are they getting this money? A lot of these countries are selling U.S. treasuries. If you were to sell treasuries and you're going to put it into hard assets, wouldn't you allocate some number of those monies into Bitcoin? I don't think you'd only buy gold bars. I think there's a lot of secret accumulation. We've seen Dubai Sovereign Wealth Fund just buy in the previous week. So I think a lot of nation states are going to start buying gold and Bitcoin. And now I'm predicting correlation is going to coincide, and I think we will start seeing them rise and fall together. I think, especially as people notice, oh well, gold kind of front runs Bitcoin. So let me just buy Bitcoin.
I think it's a slow, because even like the United States is a huge shipment. It might already be here from England. Like we're looking to audit Fort Knox. That's going to take probably 16 months at the minimum. And then if they're looking to audit the Fort Knox, they're looking for a digital stockpile for Bitcoin. They're looking for a stockpile for gold.
Whatever happened to that live stream of Fort Knox?
It's still happening. They have to, apparently it's like 14 months. It's going to take some time for them to do it. I don't know any of the.
I'm the president.
Yeah,
I run this building. I'm walking in there tomorrow.
Yeah, I would agree. So I don't necessarily know, because I think they have to. What they actually were doing is they're testing every single gold bar.
34, not 20.
And I don't know. Maybe chat can correct me on this, but they're doing something where it takes about a set amount of time to do every single. They're literally auditing that. They're testing if it's physical.
I've been to the pawn shop. You can get a freaking little disc, okay, or a little square stone. All right, you can go in there with a little chisel, a hammer. All right, I'm gonna break that one in half. I'm gonna break that gold bar in half. I'm gonna break that gold bar in half.
That's how you bite it. Like put it on your teeth, like just.
Well, if it's the inside, you need to break it open and make sure it's not tungsten.
Make sure it's not chocolate. So I don't know the validity around any of that. I haven't actually looked into it too much. But in terms of the gold, that is, again, it's just making another case for your point. Is you're looking at, this is for the first time. This plays part of what Scott Bessent wants to do with government spending alongside Elon Musk. As if they're going to reduce the deficit and cut government spending, and at the same time now create stockpiles with gold, with Bitcoin, that can also bring down interest rates, because you're looking at loans having collateral for the first time since Richard Nixon after 1971, after coming off the gold standard. Right now, all of your loans that are at like a 4% interest rate globally on an international scale, all this money is just artificially printed. There is no backing. And so having this collateralized system also could be really good in the long term in terms of bringing those down and reducing those interest rates, which again makes even a bigger argument for store values like gold and like Bitcoin. And that's where a lot of gold bugs are predicting even potentially $4,000 to $5,000 gold over the course of the next 5
I think there's
6
missing
years.
gold in Fort Knox, so I think that's very possible.
A lot of people do. One thing that was interesting,
Spray painted bricks.
I saw this yesterday, and it's a thing that I think is kind of lost on a lot of people. They were talking about, the fiat system or the banking system. It says one of the biggest lies of the banking system that so many people believe is that your dollars are backed 1-to-1, that like your bank has $1 for every dollar you've given them. And they absolutely do not. We know that hasn't been that for a long time. It was 10%. Now it's 0%. Banks are broke, but stable coins are backed 1-to-1. And they said that's why stable coins are such a huge threat to banks, because they're actually doing the thing that banks have been deceiving people into believing for so many years.
Yeah, all banks are Terra Luna.
Yes, 100%. They're all just waiting for people to start. If any bank had mass withdrawals, it would collapse. If even 10% of the funds that were held by the bank were tried to be called in, they wouldn't be able to do it. They've had to be bailed out. It's already happened multiple times. But stable coins, we've seen with USDC and USDT, billions of dollars of withdrawn, doesn't miss a beat because they actually are backed 1-to-1. And that would, I don't know why that hasn't sunk in earlier to me as to why there's so much fighting, so much regulation, so much lobbying around stable coins. But that's 100% it. It is the biggest threat to a very old industry that is on its way out.
And it's why people that keep arguing CBDC will never have one in the United States, ever. It's that very reason right now is because fractional banking and greed is
we talked about this before. I think they'll just call it USDC, and people argue over the definition if it's a CBDC or not.
Yeah, but exactly. So I think that's what we'll see take place. But BNY Mellon's already announced this. Like your JP Morgans, your Wells Fargos, none of them want a Ripple to run all the transaction volume because they're going to be generating those fees. They're going to create, and they're already creating. Can't dispute that. Like BNY Mellon, $50 trillion asset management company, the largest bank out of all banks. They have private ledgers already. And so what I see taking place is them issuing their own stable coins and participating within those ecosystems. They announced this at the Ondo Summit alongside Chainlink and Ripple. And
they won't be CBDCs because they're not going to be issued by a central bank, but they will be issued by another bank.
They're issued by a bank,
but that's
where the central bank is holding a gun to their temple.
Because
they're
they make
like,
the money off.
they're not releasing it.
And it's because they make the money off the on-ramps and off-ramps.
Right.
And they want that transaction volume.
Circle and Tether are replacing the central banks, and that's why we're seeing such a crazy battle going on right now.
I would argue they're even replacing the Federal Reserve.
That's a central
wait,
bank.
you just said central bank. Sorry, I was thinking you just said banks. Yeah. So I completely agree. Yeah.
Let's talk a little Bitcoin chart action. I want to give a
money.
big shout out to Ivan on Tech. Guys, hit that like button. Ivan on Tech. I was going to get distracted. He's really bringing up European issues lately, and I've been loving watching it. But MM, oh, wait a minute. It's not even an Ivan post. It's a freaking MM Crypto post. Shout out to the warrior of thumbnails. No one has a warrior face like MM Crypto. I don't call it anything else because he takes it to another level. He has earned respect because it is a warrior face. If you don't know the MM Crypto thumbnail game, you are missing out in crypto. But he pointed this out. I believe these are 12-hour candles here. Bitcoin waiting for the last minute for a break to the upside, break to the downside. You can see it right here. Bitcoin running out of time, folks. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 12-hour candles left. We got about 28 hours or 22 days here, 48 hours. Bitcoin needs to make a move to the upside, to the downside. Of course, that is going to be the billion-dollar question. So says the whale with a $500 million 40x Bitcoin short. He did profit $10 million in 8 days. He has closed the short, everybody. But there's a new update. He has closed the short. And if let me give you 1 second. Don't break away, DJ. Close the short. And now he is longing Melania. He's longing Melania, everybody. So interesting story. This guy's just
Barron
a
Trump's
DJ.
on a tear, man.
Barron? Oh, yeah. They say it's Barron. Now, Zach XBT has revealed it is someone who has stolen crypto and just goes to like crypto casinos and gambles like a degen. So it's a thief with a gambling addiction. And you probably need to be risk tolerant if you're going to be a thief.
He just knows he could steal another 10 million.
Maybe. He said it's not Lazarus, though.
People are definitely more reckless with money they didn't earn.
Maybe it's SPF in
that's
prison.
true.
He's got a little
It's
USB.
the kid who his parents bought him a car when he's in 11th grade versus the kid who mowed yards all summer to buy the car in 11th grade. They're going to treat that car a little bit differently here. So yeah, he's rolling around with stolen funds. Why not 50x, right? Why not? Josh, do you do 50x's?
Not often, DZ. Not often. I know it's your favorite thing to do on a Monday morning.
Right now the trade is break even.
Of course he is.
It is not 50. Everybody is
49.
not 50. It's 36. We're basically at break even. This is just a fun scalp trade that we're gonna have a little bit of fun with, folks.
I have a rule. I don't trade with more leverage than my age.
So when you're like 60 years old, you're just gonna be a full port degen
with my 401ks. Your 401ks.
Grandpa, where's my inheritance? I had a 50x with that whales.
Man, if the price moves $15, we're all gonna make it. But
China's buying, little Timmy. China's buying.
Look, hey, I don't make the rules.
Looking here, what was his Melania long? So he's long Melania again. Nothing. He's only 5x. This guy, I don't get this guy. 50x Bitcoin. He goes to Melania, shrinks it to 5x.
Yeah, this
more manipulative.
I don't know
that they can market make it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we pointed this out the other day too. This also there are strategies where you build a huge position. I think I talked about it on X. You build a large position, you let everybody stop loss hunt you, and then you're basically ready to self-liquidate. I was wondering if this was somebody else. You know how we covered 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whenever it was, the person who got liquidated but still made money because they took advantage of the back end mechanics of hype with the high leverage. I was wondering if this was somebody that was prepared to do that, using the automated liquidity and market maker things on the back end of hype, liquidating themselves at the same time, taking along on a different platform and, riding that up when it got liquidated. There's a lot when you get into that level of size, there's a lot of sophistication you can get into with your trading. So,
like Paul Pelosi. They start getting really complicated, like derivatives trades that are like leveraged, but with back ends to cover the downside, and it's hedged. And you're like, I just wanted to hit 50x green button. All right, we do have major rumors. I know this is almost, in fact, it is crazier than Elon owning Bitcoin. This is from the Department of Defense, and we're seeing a lot of patterns starting to emerge. Michael Saylor, big things are coming. We also have this post from Matthew Pines with the room where it happened. What is he referring to? You think the show is over? From David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine, but it's going to be a big month. Embrace the game theory and give it about 3 weeks, and it should become more obvious, as this person changed their background to an American flag. And now people are starting to speculate one of the cost-neutral ways we are going to acquire Bitcoin is to have the Department of Defense start mining Bitcoin, which would coincide with a cut in USA ID funding. Like, hey, you got to pay for that color revolution in a country. Maybe you got to mine Bitcoin because Doge is sniffing around.
Yeah. I think this is something Drew and I have been talking about. We know we're bringing a lot of energy production back here to the United States. We've got tons of unused energy from the Army Corps of Engineers. So if you start saying, okay, Bitcoin is a matter of national security, we need to secure we need to get to 1 million Bitcoin without spending money. Oh, hey, we've got all this excess energy that's just getting wasted. Let's start mining. I really think the U.S. wants to be a mining superpower. We have plenty of energy. We have plenty of resources, both used and unused, that we could tap into and become cheap producers of energy, which that immediately makes us viable for Bitcoin mining. There's a reason Marathon's been at all of these things. There's a reason Riot's been around all these things. There's a reason Clean Spark's been around all these things at the summits and everything going on at the White House. There's a reason they're going to Greenland. I really believe that is in the works, and that's a major thing. It takes time. It doesn't happen fast, but I think we're going to start to see major nation. We already know other nations are competing heavily to mine Bitcoin. I predict the United States is going to be getting into that full force very soon. And these are rumors right now, and that's what they always say: buy the rumor, sell the news. Getting in now at these prices and at these levels before all of this stuff, before that ETF launches in October, before the announcement comes out that the United States is mining Bitcoin, before the announcement comes out that they were trying to get to $1 million, that's when you want to be accumulating. That's when you have the opportunity. So I think 100% this is going to happen. It's almost inevitable. If you're going to have a plan around this, you're going to be the first thing almost anybody I know that's learning about Bitcoin asks when they start getting into it is, how do I mine it? How can I take my computer that I'm not using 24/7 and get a return on that? Now, sometimes you find out, you're better off to just buy it, than mining it. But many people go down that mining rabbit hole. It fits in line with production. It fits in line with manufacturing. It fits in line with the U.S. being a superpower for Bitcoin. So for those reasons, I have strong conviction that this is going to happen.
Yeah, excess energy, and if it's budget neutral, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a lot of Bitcoin mining whales just kind of donate some old equipment, which can still produce blocks, just doesn't do it as efficiently. We do have a $2 super chat. Shout out the No Alt Season 2025 Bitcoin Super Cycle. Well, speaking of Super Cycle, we finally turned around with the ETFs here. We got $274 million in inflows on St. Paddy's Day. Was Wall Street drunk during lunch? Bought some Bitcoin? Probably. That's going to be my guess here. And we're looking at the numbers. There's two iBit, of course. We saw iBit with the $42 million pulled in, and Fidelity pulled in $127 million. So normally you don't see iBit not leading the way, but we did have a green day. And you can see right there, $274 million. Didn't realize Friday was also positive, but you can see some deep red. What we've had is not red consecutive days, but red consecutive weeks. And now maybe we could finally turn that thing around. Then maybe that's when we start seeing nice little Bitcoin pumps, everybody. But we got people warning that the bull market is over. This is from Crypto Quant CEO Ki Young Ju, and he is saying the bull run's going to be over in 6 to 12 months with a bearish or sideways price action there.
No, I was just going to ask you to zoom in on that. No, you did it. So thanks.
So he told his 500,000 followers that the bull cycle has officially come to an end. And he said the on-chain metrics are suggesting we are entering a bull market, or we're entering a bear market. New liquidity is driving up, and the newly emerged whales are currently selling their coins at lower prices. I have a thought on the newly emerged whales currently selling their coins at lower prices. The whales of 2025, are unlike any whale in entirety of Bitcoin's history. Now we have new buyers stepping up as a top 10 wallet, top 100 wallet. Back in the day, the only top 100 wallets were basically the OGs that mined it. I mean, you got Draper, you got some people that accumulated 2012, 2014, but this is the first time we're seeing whales that have fresh coins. So I think it's just, short-term holders taking some short-term profits. I wouldn't look too much into the whales, the newly emerged whales selling their coins there, but he is, expecting 6 to 12 months bear sideways action. I'm not seeing that 108, 109 was the top. Josh, does that feel like the top to you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think, in the short term, obviously, I think it's going to take some time to get back into 110 here. But there's a lot of indicators. For example, I just pulled up this here. This is a very interesting chart that a lot of people pay attention to is Google Trends. The search for recession is now hitting levels we haven't seen since the bottom of the recession in 2022. So we're at a max pain point. We're at max fear, and everybody is screaming more downside, and more downside could happen, right?
Yeah,
72K
could happen. Came in. These numbers here: industrial production 0.7, it was expected to be 0.2. Manufacturing production 0.9, it was expected to be 0.3. So,
and I pulled up his article to have that ready to go.
Yeah, you want to look at that right now?
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know what this is in terms of manufacturing growth, this is from Zero Head. It's his website. So I love that you pulled it up. That was the perfect transition there. Recession canceled. Okay. So right now, everybody is looking.
Could you go back to the article real quick, Josh? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it down. I just want to show chat here. So everybody is banking on a recession. It is at level. It's almost at max searches right now over the last 5 years. And again, when you go to the.
Who's the author of that?
Tyler Durden. You know Tyler? Yeah, there's inside knowledge here.
Well, he's friends with Robert Paulson.
Oh my goodness! So it's a Fight Club thing.
Yeah, Tyler Durden's one of the main characters.
Yeah, I was trying to watch. I thought I was watching Fight Club the other day, and it turned out to be Troy. So I'm trying here.
Oh man! Those who don't know, newer viewers, thank you for joining. Hit that like button as you come in. Josh has never seen Fight Club, so it's just something we've been bringing up at least once every other day for the past 3 months.
Dude, I just can't escape.
Rule number one.
I can't escape it. It's like we're bringing up a really good point here, and then I just get.
I'm sorry.
What is the?
I apologize.
Look, I haven't even seen the movie. I know the number one rule about Fight Club. Okay, you tend to be talking about it a lot here. All right. With a recession narrative crushing gain, though, this is what we've been predicting here in terms of the manufacturing results. So this is in response to the tariffs and the conversations we've been getting since January. A lot of that uncertainty here, but U.S. industrial production has rose, to an all-time high record in February. So it's happening quickly. The markets are shifting pretty quickly here, hitting an all-time high. The MFG output rose 0.9%, boosted by a jump of 8.5% in the index for motor vehicles and parts. The output of manufacturing, excluding motor vehicles and parts, increased 0.4%.
Okay, so automobiles taking the lion's share, but that's still good. That's a huge part of an economy.
Yes. And so this is, it's, and I think you're just going to see this, it's going to just track, right? Because as the manufacturing rolls back into it, this takes a lot of research to go do, but is the factories that exist in Michigan or, for example, Donald Trump tweeted out yesterday that he's like, hey, Pennsylvania, get back to coal mining using clean coal, that's a hyperbole, I think is what you would call that. It's very not... What would you call that? What's the correct oxymoron? Thank you. Yeah. It's an oxymoron. Is all starting to come back over the next couple of months here. This is why I keep saying if you're reaching for that 72K Bitcoin, if you're reaching for those lower lows on this market, they can happen. We are just now scraping at the bottom of the barrel because we're now only days, if not weeks, away from the Federal Reserve coming out and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to start cutting interest rates again. The QT's over. And whether if it's only 25 basis points or not, that is going to bring a new amount of excess liquidity into the markets and borrowing costs that small businesses and factories are going to take advantage of. So that is really good for releveraging the private sector. And that's happening. I think the latest date is June. I think there's a high chance now, and we're seeing that correlate into the Fed watch numbers that you're seeing the end of QT in May, which that would give us now even less than 4 weeks. And so we need very bad news. You need very bearish data, which could come out of the Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow at the FOMC meeting to bring the prices down to that range from a fundamental perspective. And so if you're looking at those manufacturing points, this is just all clear signs for everybody out there If you're worried about a recession, everybody is. Everybody is Google searching recession. This is your retail trend right now, right? So look, again, we can go a little bit further, but if you want light at the end of the tunnel, it is there, and that is coming out of our macroeconomic data.
Yeah, tariffs, short-term pain, long-term gain, and that's kind of what the argument is there. So we'll see if that ends up playing out. We do have some bold news here.
Well, I
on
wanted
stock
to
market. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to respond to this last question for Crank. It's not happening, John. It's no rate cuts tomorrow. I don't think rate cuts are coming at all tomorrow, Crank. What we're saying here is tomorrow, if it's dovish, if he comes out
It's
at
the
all
comments.
dovish, I don't expect rate cuts. I don't expect the announcement of QT to be ended. I expect potential dovish remarks from the questions that are going to come out of, hey, CPI is coming out way better than expected. Hey, manufacturing is looking good. Labor markets are looking good. So we're hoping for dovish remarks. But if you're trading that,
People
don't trade FOMC day. That's all I say.
People look at the adjectives that he used and they get like a thesaurus and they have like a ranking, like, oh, he said critical, not pivotal. And that means this. TJ, I said to you, he said puzzling instead of perplexing. And they find these like very, very slight differences in adjectives. And then that's what moves the markets tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not going to be rate cuts.
Yeah. And I know Crank agrees with that. It's, it's kind of like if he says we're happy with the data.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But it's very vague. But he goes, we're happy with the data
versus
but
not
we don't
concerned.
have enough data. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very vague remarks, and that's what we want to hear.
He said not concerned, not happy.
Exactly.
Oh, sell.
He comes out with a purple tie, and they're like max bet. So hey, watch the whale tomorrow if he shorts and opens. Is he longing? You said he's longing.
Melania 5x.
Oh, he's long and Melania. Yeah, just don't trade FOMC day. But again, if it comes out at all a little bit dovish, that makes the argument of seeing the downside a little bit harder for the Bears. That's
all right. Now, speaking of hard for the Bears here, S&P, this is very good for the Bulls. S&P 500 just recorded a second straight day with 90% advancing stocks. What is 90% advancing stocks? That means 450 of the 500 stocks were in the green. So that's what that means. So we just had a second straight day with 450 of the 500 in the green after hitting a 6-month low. So when that happens, it is up 2 months later, 100% of the time. So 100% win rate 2 months later. You can see it. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see the green arrows. There's one time where it looked a little bit scary. Looks like these years are so close. So 2 months later, it was a little bit higher. But zoom out. This is a very bullish catalyst. This is often preceded, maybe a little bit of a mega dump later, but it's always part of a bull trend. And sometimes it has been a very, very excellent time to get into the stock market there. So maybe, we're seeing a lot of bull market vibes.
That's where I think there. DCA is just like DCA Bitcoin. And because no matter what, too, the outcome of this, like even recession or not, the outcome's money printing if that's the worst case. So if what Donald Trump, like let's say you don't like anything Donald Trump and Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick is doing, that is completely okay, right? You're betting on saying, hey, they're going to fail and these markets are done. We're going to go into recession. Great. What does that lead us to?
Cheaper
money
prices.
Printing.
Oh,
it's just going to be an excessive amount of money printing because they're not going to be able to lower interest rates. We have to refinance our debt at $7 trillion in June. We're looking at $4, $5, $6 trillion entering the circulation. U.S. expanding the M2 money supply, which is what the opposite of the administration wants. You're looking at disgusting. You're probably looking at inflation coming back. That is really good for gold and Bitcoin. Debatable on the risk assets.
No, that's the beauty of holding Bitcoin as an asset is it's almost like every potential scenario is good for Bitcoin. Hey, they print money. That's good for Bitcoin. The economy's doing good. That's good for Bitcoin. Like the stock market's going up. That's good for Bitcoin. Stock market's going down. That's good for Bitcoin. So.
And the only scenario where it's bad is the scenario will never happen, which is like hard deflation, which would never happen because no country wants their debt to be more expensive.
100%.
Yeah, it just that's too country. That'll never happen.
It just can't happen. So there's like one scenario where it's bad, and it's like the scenario that just can't happen.
Yeah.
And again, guys, you've been hearing me talk about this for a while as far as these are the opportunities right here. Anything near 80K Bitcoin. You heard Michael Saylor saying it, 80K Bitcoin is a joke. It's an incredible discount right now. Same goes for plenty of stocks, Tesla and Nvidia and plenty of things. If you believe in these companies that have been getting crushed over the last couple months, now is generational entry points, whether it lasts. What? Well, go ahead.
It's a joke at 80K, but he like bought 4 over the weekend.
Yeah, true. Well, he's raising $21 billion. He
loves Bitcoin at 105. He hates it at 80.
My point is, we're being given a multi-month window to take action and buy and engage in these markets with generational opportunities. Like this is to me, this is almost as good as the opportunity you got back in March and April of 2020 when, all of the pandemic stuff was rolling out and everybody was terrified. There was so much fear in the markets. Everything's going to zero. We're having civil war, blah, 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 blah. Everything's going to crash. And so many people were scared. The people that made big money bought Bitcoin. They bought the stock market. Like now feels like one of those opportunities. We're choosing short-term pain with all of this stuff going on, all this transition, all this turmoil going on. But over the next several years, the stock market is going to recover. Bitcoin is going to absolutely go to all-time highs. Well beyond that, gold, we just saw gold usually front runs a lot of these things. So we're seeing trends that say now is the time to buy. Many people, and the fact that so many people are searching recession, go look how many people were searching recession back in 2020. Look how much fear there was in the market. That should be the easiest indicator when your buddy is scared, when everybody you're talking to, everybody that is retired or was retired is like, my portfolio is getting crushed. I don't know. I don't feel so great. Hey, that's a good time to buy. If your grandpa's not happy, if he's grumpy at the world because his whole portfolio is down, go buy something. I don't care what it is. Buy a house, buy crypto, buy a stock, just get into assets right now because asset rich people continue to get richer. People that don't hold assets just get left behind. And so if you've been getting left behind, if you're new here, now's the time to buy Bitcoin. I'll keep saying it. I love it at these prices. Or your favorite altcoin. You like Avalanche here, you like Chainlink here, you like Ondo here. Like the fact that I'm seeing people saying Ondo's going to zero, Plume, like people that were big believers in these things 90 days ago, all of a sudden, because the price has corrected to an incredible entry point, they're like, actually, I don't believe in this thing anymore. It's like, well, why? What fundamentally changed other than the price? And they don't really have a good reason. So go buy your favorite altcoin, go buy more Bitcoin, sit back and relax, come back in a couple of years. You're going to be happy you did it.
What would you say if 80% chance Bitcoin is going to hit around 50K? I would say, what is your data that predicts the future?
I'd say it's a 20% chance. I won't even put that. I'd put 5% chance. I think
I
you would
wouldn't be
be. I'm not going to say that's not possible, but I think again, to see 48K, the SPX would have to crash by 30%, and I don't believe we're going to see a 30% bear market correction or a recession on the S&P just based off manufacturing data. Because again, so it's a scale. It's all it is a balance. And so what we just started seeing with the manufacturing data for the month of February, which is only going to grow in March, is the scale's finally starting to pivot backwards. So we're still on the bearish side of that scale, but it's about to flip even, right? And so that is kind of my metric for following that. To see that break, we would need to see manufacturing, dip. We would need to see inflation be stickier. Inflation's dropping now.
Oh, I got a good segue here. Folks, if you really know what's going to happen with the Feds, what's going to happen with money printing, you can go to Polymarket because there's like 100-to-1 odds for you right now because Polymarket Better is saying 100% chance the Fed ends quantitative tightening before May. So if you're really just this macro guru, quantitative tightening.
Yes, quantitative tightening ends. A lot of people
let's go to
you got to be. Yeah, you can pull that up. We looked at it yesterday. You got to be careful with some of those things. You got it up on this article. You got to look at on Polymarket the definitions.
Yes.
And a lot of people got wrecked betting against that because they didn't read the fine print of the definition of that trade.
Is it the Fed decision?
No, it's basically as long as
What's
they
it called?
Was when they let the
title of it
balance sheet mature.
What's the title?
The
Fed
title
decision?
of the bet.
What's the title of the bet? I'm trying to look it up.
Polymarket Bettors say 100% chance.
So what's the title of the bet?
The title of the bet, I believe, is
of
Fed ends QT by May.
Thank you.
And basically the way it's defined is as long as they don't do it for 1 week. And so 1 week of not doing it considers it ending, even if they resume it the following week. And so they did end it effectively at least 1 week. And that's why it's at 100% right now. And that's why people got wrecked on that trade. So
I do not see this. Because I like QT. So what was the definition one more time? Because I was totally ignoring that. I was trying to find it.
It's like if they don't do it for 7 days.
7 days.
Okay.
That's all it takes. So if there's 1 week goes by that they don't do QT, that counts as it ending, even if it resumes the following week. So that happened. So that's why it's at 100%.
Okay.
Right. And there's the opposite of quantitative easing, everybody. Now, we do have some SEC. So if you want to see that, there you go. We do have some SEC news. Looks like SEC could act some Biden rules, says the new acting chief, Mark Ojeda. I always try to say that correctly there. And so what are the rules that we're talking about? There's two main ones that we're talking about. One is tightening crypto custody standards for investment advisors. the tightening of standards was basically lawmakers choosing the winners. Oh, you can only use our approved Bitcoin custodians, and they make it very, very difficult for a financial firm to become a Bitcoin custodian. So then they could just choose, well, our 5 buddies are the only ones in the world that can do it. We're going to allow Coinbase, BlackRock, and a handful of other banks. So they're making it where, hey, a lot more banks can be a Bitcoin custodian. That is a good rule. Second rule here was, expand the reach of custody requirements to crypto assets while shrinking the ranks of qualified crypto custodians. There's that one. The other one asks financial firms holding crypto to record them as liabilities on their balance sheet. And so that's another thing. If I give your bank $10,000, they immediately go loan it out. A second later, it's all algorithmically done. But with Bitcoin, I give them 10,000 of Bitcoin. They couldn't loan it out, and they had to have it sit in a vault. So that's just not attractive for a bank. So getting rid of some rules is going to make it a little bit more friendly for people trying to get crypto services. Very, very good. We do have an ADA whale stacking. So the whales are stacking Cardano. Keep an eye out on Cardano if you are bullish on that one. And Chainlink, this is a great theory here. Chainlink is presenting regulatory roadmap for 2025 at the Blockchain Summit. Makes you wonder why. Why does Link get to present about regulations? Has Chainlink received clarity that other crypto firms are missing? To me, that seems like a yes when I'm looking at this. So seeing that Sergey was at the White House, proximity to a lot of the AI and crypto czar David Sachs, I wouldn't be surprised if Chainlink is going to be a major, major player over the next 12, 24 months. Very, very bullish on that. Checking in on the trade. I'm just going to close this, folks. I'm just going to close this. Markets are looking a little bit sketchy. I just want to go ahead and close that and profit, keep you aware. And we do have more news for XRP. SEC chair speaks on the Ripple case for the first time. Now, Josh, we were kind of speculating what's going to happen.
That's coming, by the way.
Say what?
The 27th, Paul Atkins should be voted in by the Senate.
Paul Atkins? Okay.
That is the 27th. That's another date we got to watch.
He's getting America on the Atkins diet, right? As part of MAHA.
Hopefully, yeah. Against seed oils. We'll see. Real beef, no vegan. Now we'll see what happens. But that's the 27th, and Paul Atkins is, I think, a credible pick for the SEC chair. So we haven't even seen what his kind of perspective is on the space yet. We haven't seen him speak as the SEC chair, and so there's going to be tons of interviews rolling out definitely the first week. So that is also something that could be a double whammy too for positive directions, unless he comes down and talks to market. It's just like, all cryptos are security. But we know that's not going to happen. This is somebody who was on the board. He worked with RSR, which is why we originally went to Arkham and got wrecked on Arkham, is because we're like, oh, they have ties to Paul Atkins. They worked directly with them for years and years and years.
And he's like, I divested everything.
And yeah, exactly. And so, we'll see what the outcome of this is. But from someone that's a very pro crypto individual, works with Securitize and all the tokenization markets, I think it's going to be incredible for the markets.
All right. I do have a Uyeda's comment on Ripple directly. So this is the first time the replacement for Gary Gensler. It's the first time he's spoken on XRP directly. What did he say? A freaking mystery here. He then specifically addressed the Ripple lawsuit, stating, there's the lawsuit at Ripple. A lot of things writing on that. That's like a really interesting thing to follow in this space. What?
That's it?
That's it.
That's all he said?
There's a lot of interesting things to follow. Hey, man, what's going on with the Ripple case versus SEC? A lot of interesting things right on that one. Yeah. You're not telling me anything. I need facts. I need details. But I think it makes sense that they wouldn't want to share any details there. So we're not going to get too upset at him about that one. Now, we do have a Q&A. Let's get a little Q&A. Someone's asking Cardano versus Ethereum. Where would I allocate my funds? I think there's more upside with Cardano versus Ethereum. I think Ethereum, roughly around 2K, 6K, right? That's a 3X. I think Cardano can do more than a 3K there. 75 cents. 2X is $1.50. So 4X, you're looking at $3. So I think there's a little bit more upside with Cardano. Previous all-time high, it's going to spell better for ADA. Any other? Let's see.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. I've actually saved a bunch. So let me roll through them. I did want to give a super special shout out to one of our OG members, Sally Stacks. It's a special day for her today. One of my favorite members in the chat. So shout out to her, everybody. Tell her happy birthday in the chat for Sally Stacks.
Happy B-Day.
Happy birthday, Sally.
And then I've also got here, I've been saving them kind of throughout the show, a bunch of different questions. So we've got here, Mr. Mark, Discover Crypto. What is the outlook on Velodrome Finance? I know you guys support Aerodrome, but how do you guys feel about Velo? Do you guys have any thoughts on Velodrome?
I still like Velo, but Base needs more attention, needs more hype, needs more inflows. We saw a lot of flows going towards SWE. And so until that changes, which, probably going to be likely in the near term, I don't think base is going to go anywhere. I think base is going to be around for a while. And so once we start seeing base bullishness, that's when we'll roll over into a lot of these base DeFi projects. It's impossible to predict exactly when that's going to happen, but my gut tells me we're getting a lot of good news from the SEC, from the Trump administration. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it in the next 2 months.
Yeah, for me, Velo's, it's Optimism's base. It's Optimism's
that's
Uniswap,
the Unichain.
And they're the same company. Remember that. Don't forget Velodrome and Aerodrome are the same exact company. So, Optimism's an interesting one. Optimism's been, we haven't traded this here at all on this channel, but it's actually looking at to be some pretty good entry points here on our Optimism. Optimism's crushed. It is absolutely crushed. It fell below that support of 105.
What screen are you looking at?
Out 85 cents. I got to pull it up because I switched screens here again. Screen, window, tab here. Look at this chart here, right? So you're looking at just an absolute wreck here on anybody that was holding it.
Huge head and shoulders.
Huge head and I don't even know. I think it just back to flatline. It's like it died here. So, what's good to see is there is volume coming in at these ranges on the daily. The stochastic's overextended. So I'm not necessarily hopping in at this range here, but until Optimism starts to get that volume, that traction, Velodrome's going to be harder to follow suit with it. So I would say I'm still a bigger fan of Aerodrome in the sense I think base has a little bit better of an opportunity at grabbing more volume because they don't have a token, and base is the number one, DEX for the entire base ecosystem. But I think both are decent plays. And if you think Optimism's OP Superstack's going to do well, which is a really good tool set, it's a really good place for development, it could do well in the alt sectors of L1 starting to perform. But I would say out of the two, I would favor Aerodrome a little bit there.
All right, what do you guys say to this? And we'll go lightning round on some of these next few questions. There's so much fear in the market right now. Usually I'm buying this up, but when mainstream media is telling you to buy the dip, 9 out of 10 times it's going lower. Buckle up. 72K still in play. Do you guys agree, disagree? 72K in play.
I would say 72 is still in play. Now, when it comes to mainstream media saying, buy the dip, it's going to go lower. Buy the dip. I feel like they don't ever say, they're like, it's going up. It means it could be going down. Does going down mean, it could be going up?
I just think 72, I'm 70% bull, 30% chance on that the 72K rate. I'm 72%, it's possible. I'm not putting 72K is like the Wyckoff chart. So if I'm looking at the charts and just base off complete TA and only technicals, that would be my target as a short-term trader. The problem again is now all these bears are competing with the rest of the sector. Bears are not ahead of the curve on this at this point. Now everyone is bearish and everyone's bearish in crypto. We're watching creators fall off like the face of the earth. Meme coiners are completely gone. To argue that there isn't capitulation taking place or anger at these levels, I don't know where you're pulling that data from. We're not looking at any of the same data reports. So, having that factor and that just in my mindset, that's why I'm look, I'm not dollar cost averaging at under 80K. We keep saying every time Bitcoin goes under 80K, good buying opportunity. Buy. So it's if you want to bet on that and be completely sidelined and wait for 72K, again, it could happen. I just think your chances are slimming day by day.
Yeah, 80K being the new 30K of 22.
What it feels
if you get it under 30, you're probably going to be happy. It went all the way to 16, so maybe you weren't happy at the time.
People are we're going to go back to 19. We're going to go back to 17, and then we're just sitting here buying every time it was at 25K.
Well, when we lost 20, people are saying 3K.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was a huge indicator. And so it's now that's what's going to happen too. Imagine we go down to 72K, and God forbid get a wick to 69K. What happens then? People are going to be we're going to go back to 55. We're going to go back to 48. We're going to go back to, and it's it feels like that bearish mentality. And there's traders that have great data. That's there's a probability that exists. But from the overall overwhelming retail atmosphere, everybody's betting on downside right now. And I just don't want to be at that side of the spectrum when we're already at the bottom of the.
Yeah, Plume, it's tough because I see a lot of smart people pretty bullish on that one. I feel I took a little bit of profit on that one. I bought on spot, which I barely ever do. And maybe I wish I should have diamond handed all of it though. Tim Warren talking about the two types of investors, kind of speaking of that previous question. One uses bearish action to complain and whine. The second one uses it to refine their skills and buy dips. which type are you going to be, folks? Which type are you going to be, Disco fam?
So what the question was, do we think Plume will go to 12 or 14 cents? Where is it sitting at right now?
Oh, I'm not even making it's at
I thought you were
20
looking at
cents,
it.
and it just went to that earlier. No, it didn't. So yeah, Plume, guys, we called this at 9 cents. Like if you're in at this range, that's entirely up to you at this level. We like perfectly called the bottom here on Plume Network. So it's gonna if Bitcoin goes to 72K, Plume's going back to 14 cents, right? But to say like I'm cautious there because now we broke out of this channel. So you're gonna have some pretty decent support at 15.5 cents. So if you're breaking below into that, it's possible, but I think Bitcoin needs to break 80K.
I love that chart. I would look for entries near the top of that yellow line.
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
I would say, like, if I'm looking to enter anything, to be honest, I might go put a little nice leverage position on Aerodrome. Aerodrome's looking pretty good. RSI here, completely flatlined. It's pretty much bottomed here on Aero's price action. Again, this is Coinbase. So I wouldn't be shocked if Coinbase started just pumping this kind of similar to what we saw in July of 2024. This is something I would watch for because I don't know if you guys remember this wick over here. When we went down to 45 cents, so like we're 4 cents away from now, that's when Coinbase Ventures bought a massive bag of it again. They bought a ton of Aerodrome at 45 cents, and it led to a pretty nice rally. And seeing the selling pressure that we've got on this, you have decent volume coming into this. It's not the worst volume. There is buyer interest at these levels. So I'm looking at Aerodrome pretty closely right now if I'm looking at that. Where's the other one too? Jupiter is another good one. Jupiter, we traded massively in this range. This was one of our best trades in the Telegram all the way back in October through pretty much December. Falling off a cliff here and back to levels we haven't seen since its launch at about 49 cents. So unless you think Solana is literally just dead, once meme coins roll back, I don't like the volume as much here, though. I won't lie. I do like Aerodrome a little bit better. So Aerodrome is probably the focus there.
All right, last
Ondo, yeah.
All right, 50x long on Jupiter. Got it.
No, last question. Increase H bar or ADA bags? I think I know the answer to this one.
That's an easy one for this channel.
If honestly, if I was to buy some tokens, I'd probably buy some H bar because I've been in Cardano so long. Right. I took a lot of profit on H bar during the pump when the legacy coins were pumping 6 months ago. I sold a lot of old coins and I put in, the hotter horses in the race. And so now I need to up the H. I got to be a barbarian again. So
all right,
in a weird way, I'd buy H bar.
It's holding that support.
If I had zero ADA, it'd be ADA.
Everyone's like, what the F, easy? But yeah, I mean, there you guys go. That's what we're watching for right now. I think the best thing you do is DCA Bitcoin. I think these are all, I think anything under 80K Bitcoin is just at that point, you're getting great entry points in the, even if it drops another 10%, you're looking at 30-40% upside in this run coming up. So yeah, hit that like button, guys. Tomorrow we'll be live for probably 4 to 5 hours. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to have a full day following all of that information. If the JFK files released today and there's anything that's sounding, we're going to go live immediately
do it.
as well. So
yeah,
you'll see
and
that.
I might have to do a deep dive on Elon and his secret Bitcoin via SpaceX. We got some facts, folks. That's all we got.
Seed phrases on the moon. Peace out, guys.